Welcome! Today I'm going to be talking about Aurasma, and first we're going to look through a PowerPoint that I've made, and then I'm going to show some video clips of a professional development session that I performed with some other teachers. So what is Aurasma? Well, Aurasma is an application that allows users to link videos and animations to a target image. It is a type of augmented reality. An augmented reality is a live or indirect view of a physical, real-world environment whose elements are augmented or supplemented by computer-generated sensory input. So really that's a fancy way of saying that other elements are brought into the physical realm through the use of a piece of technology. In this case, you will be using a tablet or a smartphone along with an article in the real world, such as a book, to enhance understanding of that real world material. Two of the things that first come to mind when using Aurasma are listening and comprehension. So for example, to use this tool with comprehension, you may ask a student to visualize when reading. When that student is done visualizing with the text, they can use their Aurasma app and put it over top of the text, and they may have an image appear, and they should mentally check and see if their image matched the image that appears in front of them. Another way to use this technique is to prompt a student to use those visualizing skills before they even begin reading the book. And Aurasma is really great for centers in your classroom. If you're having students work independently, the Aurasma app prompts them even though you may be working in a guided reading group, that for students who are working independently can still have that extra guidance that they need. Furthermore, Aurasma can be used with phonological awareness and fluency. In many children's books, there are examples of alliteration where multiple words in succession begin with the same sound, or they have rhyming words such as dog, bog, frog, those sorts of instances. So after a student is finished reading a text, you can have them use their Aurasma app to draw attention to those specific words. Similarly, if a student is reading out loud, you can prompt them either before or after reading with either the markers of fluency, or you can model for them how a fluent reader would read this text. One of the simplest uses of Aurasma may be to pre-teach vocabulary. Many students need to be pre-taught words that will be in the text in order to comprehend what is occurring. So you could use pictures or your own definition or dictionary definitions to pre-teach these vocabulary words to the students, or after they read, you could give supplemental materials to enhance their understanding of the vocabulary words in the text. Aurasma could also be used to enhance communication. So some teachers use online materials such as blogs to help students collaborate or exchange ideas, but you could also have older students create their own auras within the same book that they're reading in some sort of book club in order to communicate with one another or communicate with the teacher. An aura is the name for the overlay that goes on top of the target image. So the way that Aurasma works is first you have a target image that links through the app, which brings up the aura, which covers over top of whatever your image is. So now let's discuss how to make your first aura. The very first thing that you need to do is make an account. So grab a device, I prefer a computer for this stage, and go to www.aurasma.com. Then follow the next steps to finish creating your account. Make sure that you write down your username and password somewhere for future use. Next, you'll need your handheld device. As I previously mentioned, this could be a tablet or a smartphone, basically any smaller device that can connect to the internet, because these are a little bit easier to hold than a computer when you are trying to access the target image. If you are presenting this technology to other educators in your school, I would strongly suggest letting them explore with the auras at this point. So they may use their app on their devices to explore pre-made auras before they have the opportunity to make their own. Models are a really strong way to both enhance engagement and enhance understanding. Now you are finally ready to create your first aura. The first thing that you will need to do is to gather your materials to upload to the aura. So you can use your handheld device to take a picture of a page or a specific diagram in a book, and then take a video of yourself explaining why you chose that section or using a specific strategy. And as I mentioned earlier, remember, you can think of listening, comprehension, vocabulary, all different aspects of reading. Then you need to upload your media to your computer. You could also do this directly on your device, but personally I prefer the computer because it makes it a little bit easier to resize or rotate the images. So there are multiple methods to do this. You could plug your device directly into a computer. You could email the picture and video to yourself. If you have a Google Drive, you could upload it to Google Drive and then access it from there. Whatever works. I would like to mention that if you try to use email, sometimes the video files might be too large for that, so you might have to plug it in or use Google Drive. So these following directions are completely accurate as of November 2016. However, Aurasma may update their website after that, so you may have to maneuver around the website to figure out what to click on if you are watching this video at a much later date. However, these steps are currently accurate and they will probably remain close to the same. So first you need to create a new Aurasma and then begin to upload your images and adjust the size as desired. After you have your overlay just the way you want it, you can add a title to your project and add any hashtags for people who are searching for specific auras. You also want to make sure that you save your project and share it in order for others to see it. Now, one thing that I noticed about sharing is you may not be able to click on the button right away. It may be grayed out. If this happens, you just have to go back to My Auras and then enter your project again, and from there you should be able to share it. If people who are trying to view it cannot find it, they may want to follow you on the app and then they will be able to use your auras. So as I mentioned in today's agenda, now we are going to look at clips from a professional development session in order for you to see what this might look like in real life. At this stage in the presentation, I had finished going through the PowerPoint and I was allowing the students to explore with the Aurasma app. So before I presented this, I created 2 auras and I told them to turn to a specific page of the book and practice using their device to access those auras. Next, I asked the other educators to use the camera on their phone to take a picture of a different page of the book or diagram from the book that they would like to use to create their own aura, and then take a short video or another picture to overlay on top of the target image.
And so then we have to do like whatever video we want to go on top of it too.
Yep, so those are the 2 parts I want you to do right now. Take a picture and then take whatever video that you want to be overlaid on top. That's the term that they use, overlay, or whatever goes on top.
Oh, so I just took a picture and I made that I messed up. Because I just made the overlay picture the same picture that the aura is, right? Like that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. If you don't want to do a video on top, you could just do another photograph on top as well.
So let's take a look at my body language during this presentation. I was making eye contact with the other educators in the room, and then once they asked a question, I was using gestures to help them understand what was happening. So I had my hands in brackets when I was talking about a plane, and then I put one hand over top of the other to help explain the concept of overlay.
Now I don't know what I want to do. That idea's right now.
So like I can do like you create the overlay and then you can do device and then that's why I can flip it and be
You
like,
guys just doing it directly on?
yeah.
Alright. See, I normally like uploading it to my computer first, and then that way I can work on a larger device than just my phone. But you can do it all on your phone, but that's why I had you bring your computers, because sometimes it's a lot easier, especially if you're trying to reorient things
Oh, yeah.
on the computer rather than on the phone. Well, what did you take a picture of?
I took a picture of the glossary.
Glossary. So talk about the uses of a glossary.
True.
It's gonna be too shiny.
Or say what the parts and parentheses are that they're just saying how the word would be pronounced out.
So let's look at that clip once again. First, I was pretty quiet as the students were working in order to give them time to play around with the app rather than constantly prompting them and chatting them while they were trying to maneuver around new technology. Then one of the students, under her breath, so you might have not been able to hear her, was frustrated with what to say next. So I prompted the student and asked her, well, what did you use for your trigger image? And then I used that idea to help her springboard off of it and figure out what to do her video or her second image on. So if students are struggling, you want to make sure that you stop and you prompt them or give them other ideas to help them figure out what to do next. You really want this professional development session to be an encouraging thing, because if the teachers are frustrated with it, then they are not going to want to use it in their own classrooms because they'll think, I had somebody there to help me and it was still too hard. How am I ever going to be able to do this on my own?
What are you doing?
I have the lanternfish, and I'm going to. It says that the fish are called lanternfish because they glow like lanterns. So I'm going to say what else, other names could they have? Thinking of other things that glow.
That's cute.
So that's exciting.
Do you want to
We're
take
gonna talk at the
first?
same time.
Here, wait. Should we?
We can separate rooms. I'll go to that room.
Okay. Breakout session.
Yep, that works.
So what you noticed here was first the students were talking to one another. And so I didn't interrupt this at all because one of the best things about professional development is letting the teachers discuss ideas with one another. Next, the students had an idea of a breakout session, so moving to different rooms while they were doing their recording so that they wouldn't have any background noise. So at this point, I went with the flow and what the students wanted to do. In this case, we had plenty of space, so I let them take the lead.
If you're waiting for stuff to load, I'll give you the quick little video of how to create your own Aurasma if you're using the computer method rather than just doing it on your phone.
One thing that you want to make sure of is that your participants do not become bored during the presentation. So here I explained how to create an aura through steps, and then while they were waiting for their things to upload, I showed them a video of how to create it just to enhance their previous knowledge and ensure that they were being occupied.
So it took these people only 45 seconds to build theirs from start to finish.
Wow.
So once you get used to the whole process, you can actually crank these out pretty fast, which is nice. So that way, if you wanted to do a whole book with an aura on every page, it should only take you maybe 10 minutes or so. If you're just doing a short little video clip on each and just the trigger images, it shouldn't take you too long.
Here, I reinforced the idea from the video that it shouldn't take too long to create these once you have the practice in it. So I gave an example of how you could probably create an entire book in just a few minutes.
So, Irk, you got it!
I tried it on the app to see if I could do it on the app first before I tried it on the computer because I wanted to see if it, if it uploaded the same way. So that way you don't have to switch it from device to device.
Mm-hmm. And did it turn out the way you wanted it?
Yeah, I don't know how you, you know how you turned your sideways and
Yeah.
stuff? I saw how to expand or shrink mine, but I'm not exactly sure Like if there's this many options for like rotating and like doing.
Yeah,
like,
there's like
types
an
of
extra
things.
button that you had to click into, and then
Gotcha.
you have to like hold down A for some reason, and then it lets you rotate it
Kind of
freely.
rotate it, gotcha.
So
yeah, it's probably more of like a computer thing to be able to do like that aspect of it. It would
Yeah.
be my guess.
And I'm sure if you were doing anything 3D, the computer would be a lot
The
better at.
easiest, yeah, I agree.
How are you coming along?
You know, if my Wi-Fi were working, I feel like I'd understand how to do it. So I might just do like a picture overlay then.
Beware of the ever-failing technology. So this educator I know has had experiences in the building before where her technology didn't work. So she got off her laptop and went to a desktop computer in this room instead, which is why I walked out of frame in order to help her. Another way that you can try and get around failing technology is to use her suggestion of just putting a picture overlay on top instead of a video overlay, because pictures take up much less space.
Because then, like, since I'm doing the glossary, I don't need a video. Like, what I guess I could do is, like, because I have the overlay picture, I think, saved onto my Aura.
Yeah, you could even take a picture of one of those bolded words within the text and then have the glossary as the overlay
Oh, yeah.
on top.
That
Do
would
it the
be cool.
opposite direction.
So once again, the student was trying to figure out how she should organize her overlay. So I suggested flipping around her train of thought, and instead of using the glossary as the trigger image, she could use a page of the book as the trigger image and then use the bold word from the glossary as an overlay.
I think this is really cool, though.
This phrase is really important because it shows that although the student is having struggles, that she is still very engaged in what the app is and is encouraged to possibly use it in the future.
Alright, so then like I said at the end you can add a title or any hashtags. And then you want to make sure that sometimes the share button might be like grayed out, which mine was at first, so I was like, okay. So you just have to save it and then go back into it from your My Aura page, and then you can share it in order to make it public so that other people can see it. So just make sure that if you want anyone else to be able to see it, that you have to do that share stuff and make sure that it's public. And that you have to go and follow the person as well. Are there any other questions about just the basics of Aurasma or the sort of situations that you might use this in?
No, it seems like a really cool tool. Like, I might use it with one of my kiddos that I tutor.
And you can get it on like iPads and stuff too, right?
Yep,
So that,
iPads would
yeah,
work
in the
as well.
classroom. Mm-hmm.
I just know
Which is
that you guys all had phones and
Yeah,
computers
yeah.
more than bringing
Mhm.
iPads into school. But yeah, that's
So I feel
nice.
like that'd be
That
like a quick, easy way for the kids to do it. Like if they want to make their own too.
yeah, a
for
lot of
whatever
teachers
reading.
have iPads rather
Mhm.
than any other sorts of devices. So it's great. And I believe like you guys found out it's both Apple and Android.
Has it, yeah, which
Yeah.
is cool. Because a lot of the time you have them where it's like just one of the
Yeah.
devices.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming to the presentation.
No problem. Woohoo.
At the end of the presentation, make sure to wrap up any strengths or weaknesses. You also want to give the participants a chance to ask any questions, and make sure to thank them for taking time out of their day to come to this professional development. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned how to use Aurasma to enhance reading, as well as how to conduct an effective professional development session.